Okay. Thank you for your time. First of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone for all of your support in any which way, shape, or form that you show it. What the hell is this now? I don't know, there's something wrong with this keyboard. I don't know, I think I tried different batteries. It's like there's like some kind of a disconnect. I don't really understand. I don't know, maybe I'll just buy another one. Because it doesn't really make any sense here. It shouldn't be, you know, it shouldn't be doing this. There's no reason for it to behave this way. Like, I press a button and nothing happens. And then, like, a few moments pass and then it recognizes that the button was pressed. You know, that doesn't make any sense. It's not like it's a long distance away from the computer either, you know? Sometimes just turning it, like power cycling the keyboard itself will solve the problem. Like, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if the keyboard's going out. I don't know if the USB adapter is going out. I have no idea. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. I was just gonna type in a thank you for your time notice on the chat here. So I'm just gonna continue what I've been working on. I haven't done this for a few days. I had some family in town over the last number of days, and so I was spending time with them. And I didn't really have time to do anything here. But I'm going to continue working on what I'm doing here, which is kind of one of two things. Well, no. One thing here, really, right now. And that is to try and get a respectable time from here until right before the, well, I guess we could just do, yeah, from here until the final save. That's fine. I was thinking I might try a different team setup. It probably would take a little bit more time because of changing gear and stuff like that. But I'm going to be doing that anyway, so I don't really care. And I'm not going for like some kind of world record or anything. This is just basically a personal challenge that I'm doing for myself. And this specific run isn't even anything other than just giving myself a ballpark for, you know, what I'm looking at for a window. I guess if I was able to, I guess I have basically two goals here. There is a goal, and then there is a more realistic goal. The goal is to beat this game in one sitting in under 7 hours. That's my goal. My realistic goal is to do it in one sitting in under 8 hours. I do believe under 7 hours is definitely attainable for me. But depending on what my time is on the first successful attempt of a single segment run, which I did once, right? I tried it once, and I realized that I was gonna have to, I was gonna have to come up with some different things. This wasn't something that was gonna, it wasn't gonna work what I was doing. So normally when I played this game for the last, many years, I would do a 0 experience game, or I guess, I would. It's a level 6. Like, all my characters in the world of balance are level 6, and I only get 4 characters in the world. Or the 4 characters that I do collect in the world of Ruin are level 6, which means in order for me to get that means I have to have Celes start in level 6. In order to get that, I have to basically acquire the mandatory minimum amount of experience that the game allows to be acquired in the world of balance. There's no mandatory requirement in the world of Ruin. You don't have to acquire any experience, but you do have to acquire experience in the world of balance. There are a couple spots that you cannot avoid it. One of them is the mag rotors. You have to gain experience in the mag rotors. There's no way around it. You're not able to avoid that. Now, if you've not gained any experience prior to the Mega Rotors fight, and you have Locke, I call him a Doma because there does seem to be some sort of disagreement on what you're supposed to call him, but the guy from Doma, the one with the sword tech, I call him Doma. So if you have Doma, Gao, and Locke in the party, and you have certain people alive and certain people knocked out, at the end of certain fights there with the mag rotors, you can manipulate the consumption of experience in such a way that the average party level does not get above 6. And then you can keep it there, basically. The next point where there's mandatory experience is the Imperial Air Force. And in order to avoid that experience, or I mean, you have to consume that experience. It's unavoidable. But if you make Gao consume all of that experience, you can run through the floating continent, and from there return to the airship, and then once you're back on the airship, you can take Gao back to the Veld and throw him back on the Veld. And the experience that he consumed from that Imperial Air Force encounter will remain with him, because it doesn't impact any of the players that you collect. When he's not if he's not part of the party, he doesn't factor in the calculation, basically, is how it works. So with that in mind, you just dump Gao in the Veld. Now, it doesn't do any... You don't have any, like, advantage. Like, it's not like Gao gets stronger and then allows you to then beat the Imperial Air Force because he's strong. It doesn't work that way. There's an attack that they use called Absolute Zero. And Absolute Zero will wipe... Well, it'll one-shot Gao. It doesn't matter if it's the first fight or the final fight of that Imperial Air Force encounter. You have to fight like 5 or 6 fights. I don't remember exactly how many. But it doesn't matter if it's the first one or the last one. If they use Absolute Zero with their first attack and you have not muted them first, you'll die. You'll have to start all over. It's just the way it is. So, it's not like you're using Gao to get past a fight that you wouldn't otherwise be able to beat. I mean, there's easier ways to kill those things than using Gao, but Gao has to be the one that does it because you can throw him off the party and then he doesn't factor into the recalculation of the average party level. He is also down with the Mag Rotors, but you can't just like feed Gao everything all the time. It doesn't work that way because, like, for example, at the end of the Mag Rotors, you leave the Magitech factory, and when you leave the Magitech factory, Setzer automatically joins the party. So if Gao consumes all the experience, his number is going to be too high, and that will create a situation where Setzer joins the party at too high of a level, and then that will screw up all the rest of the numbers the whole rest of the way. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, and there's no way around it. And it's fine because it's doable. Come on, get out of my way. Dude, seriously, get out of my way. Dude, for real. Like, what is your deal, bro? Dude! Get out of my way. Wow. Well, what am I doing? Yeah, there we go. So anyway, there's those couple of moments where experience must be gained. But then, other than that, you can pretty much avoid all the other experience, either by just avoiding the battle outright, or, like, the boss fights in this game don't give you experience, so you don't have to worry about getting experience from bosses. But that is the way I'm most familiar with playing, because that's the way I've played the game most over the last many number of years. I mean, I've done other stuff, like many years ago. I would, you know, play the game different ways and stuff like that. This is one of my favorite games. It's maybe the best game in the franchise. There's a strong argument that could be made that it is the best game of the franchise. I'm not gonna say for sure that it's definitively. I mean, there is some opinion that comes into that, but if you have what's the word I'm looking for here? I mean, if you set up parameters for, you know, what are you going to be using to judge this, you know? Are you going to, the audio, the video, compared to its contemporaries? Because when you're comparing things that are from different eras, even if the era is a couple of years, you know, you have to take that into account, you know? Come on, get out of the way. Like Final Fantasy VI, right? Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy VII, PlayStation. So, you know, they're no longer contemporaries. They're not on the same machine. They can't really fairly be compared completely because they just simply aren't comparable. Across the board, they're not fair. It's not a fair comparison. Final Fantasy VII lacks greatly in comparison to this game in a number of ways, simply because it's on PlayStation. The graphics in this game are far and away vastly superior to what the Final Fantasy VII offers. Even though it's a 16-bit machine, and the PlayStation 1, if memory serves, is a 32-bit machine, the images are much cleaner and much, much, much better. Oh no, dude, we're gonna die here because of this. I can almost guarantee you we don't get this. You gotta, yeah, we're done. That's really unfortunate. Really, really, really unfortunate. The odds of that are pretty thin that would happen. That's alright. I needed to go grab a beverage anyway and make sure my cat is not up to anything. I thought I heard him. Oh, there he is. Okay. He's not up to anything. He's just sitting on one of my chairs. He likes to sit on my stuff, like sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night. I'll come down here and he's sitting in the living room on my recliner. I don't know why. Sometimes he's sitting on my computer chair. Again, I don't know why. Because usually, so there is a couch here in the living room that is like his, you know, kind of. Basically, it's been designated as his. And there's like this one, it's up against a exterior wall, and there's a kind of a picture window, I guess you could say, on that wall. And the couch is up against, at least right now it is, it's up against that wall. And so the top of the couch is like right, almost perfectly level with the bottom of that picture window. And so he just kind of lays there on the top of the couch. It's one of those couches that has like kind of like a, it's like fluffy kind of. I don't know how to really describe it. It's almost like there's like a pillow for like the backing of the couch. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, it's not like flat on the top. It's got like the three sections, you know. There's the right, the left, and then the middle. And so he kind of, and I put a like a blanket over it. He likes the blanket. And then he just kind of sits there and looks out the window. I mean, there are curtains there, but he kind of puts his face in between and like kind of just sits there and looks out the front window. He's an indoor cat. He's not allowed outside, really. He's got a medical condition that would be, you know, it would be potentially bad for him to be exposed to things outside, so he just hangs out. Or maybe there are things that, you know, anyway, he just hangs out inside all the time. And he, usually, when I get up for my day, he's on that couch. Usually when I come home, he's on that couch. Like, that's his shit, you know? But sometimes he sits on stuff that's like mine. It really depends a lot, like what mood is in, I guess. Sometimes if I'm sitting on my recliner, he'll just hop up on here and he'll sit there for like long periods of time just because he likes to hang out next to me. But then other times he will well, so here's what happened here. I was sitting at my computer, and so I was at my computer chair for some time there, which means it was warm because I was sitting there. And then after I got up, you know, he's trying to commandeer that warm spot is what he's doing. And so that's why he's there. And if he dozes off sitting on the warm spot, then he'll stay there for a long time. Come on, fast fish. There we go. You know, this fish minigame sucks. It's one of the worst parts of this whole game. There's no skill involved. It's totally random. You can't do anything other than just wait out the randomness. I mean, the strat that I use is I just go after the fast fish. If I don't see a fast fish, then I go back and talk to him and reset the fish. If I see a fast fish, I grab the fast fish and I feed it to him. I don't know what his deal is. He likes raw fish, bone and everything apparently, because I don't ever see the fish prepared. But sometimes you get just really bad luck and there's never any fast fish. And you can spend a long time here just grinding out BS, bad RNG. I even had, it was so bad, the RNG, that Sid died. And I was hunting for fast fish. It's not like I was like, you know, intentionally trying to whack the guy. I was, you know, doing what I always do, which is just go for the fast fish. And the fast fish were so scarce that the game killed him off. I mean, if there's no fast fish, there's nothing you can do. Yeah, see, no, he likes to be in the same room that I'm in. And after he realized, oh, he's in the other room now, he came back into this room, and now he's on his perch, looking out the window. He really, really does like it there. That's his favorite spot. I don't allow him into my bedroom. As a general rule, he's not allowed in there. My ex-wife, well, one, I like to sleep with my door closed. She always wanted the door open. And she had cats and wanted the cats to be able to come and go freely. And, well, like I said, she's my ex-wife, so I don't have to do the things that she wants anymore. I get to do the things that I want. So that means my door gets closed when I go to bed at night. And it also means that my cat, I have a cat. After the divorce, I acquired a cat. I never really cared much for cats prior to having met her. It's not like I hated cats. I just was like, whatever, you know. I never really, you know, I never really saw the appeal of having a pet. I mean, in my mind, it was just something that consumed your money because you have to feed it, and it consumed your time because you had to like, oh, the cat, you know, you have to like empty the litter box. That's another thing. It costs money to buy a litter, and it makes your house stink. It's like, why would you want to do that, man? That's nasty. And dogs, you know, dogs stink, man. They're dirty and they stink and they shit in your yard, and it's like, I don't know. I just never saw the appeal of having a pet. But then after having married this woman and kind of became fond of the cats and everything, you know. Um, Now maybe I'm a little bit more picky about the odor than she was. I mean, I said, you know, they had this one room. That's what okay, so we had two different places that we lived when we were together. The first place, um, we had it was a upstairs downstairs duplex, and it was a two bedroom, and one bedroom is our bedroom, and the other bedroom was, I guess we called it the kitty room, but that's where the litter box was. And you know, I was pretty insistent upon her, you know, being diligent about, you know, that shit not stinking. But uh, I don't know. The only way that shit's not gonna stink is if there's a ventilation fan in the room where that shit is at. You know, that's the only way. And the second place we lived, there was a small half bath that we never used really. And the litter box was in there, and there was a ventilation fan in that room. And that's just the way it was. Um, the place I live now, I live in a house, and there's a basement there's a bathroom in the basement. And that is the litter box room. There's a door that has, you know, those like pet doors that you can you cut a hole in a door and then put the pet door in there. It's got like a little flap that goes back and forth, and it has like a magnet on it to keep it like kind of closed, but they can still just push it open and walk through it. So that's what I have. I have that in front of the door there, and he can go in and out of the bathroom at his leisure, but the odors stay in there, and there's a ventilation fan in there. So all that stink just gets pumped outside. Because I'm not cool with my house smelling like a freaking toilet, an animal toilet. It's not my thing. But, you know, after having become familiar with her cats and all, and, you know, kind of growing to uh, get to know them. You know, they have different personalities, just like people or dogs or whatever. Uh, so I like basically grew to like, you know, kind of like some cats, not all of them, but going through my divorce was very, very difficult on me. Um, Actually, it was catastrophic. I uh, I had some long-term life goals that were destroyed because of that. Like one of my life goals was to get married, get married only once, and never get divorced. That was a life goal of mine that I had set for myself many, many, many years ago. And because that was one of my life goals, I waited to get married. You know, I was not going to rush into that. I took my time, and I was patient, and I thought that I had found, you know, the right one. Obviously, I was mistaken. But uh, anyway, it was really really hard on me, um, going through all of that, and then uh, repairing myself, you know, mentally, emotionally, spiritually after that. That was the first. That was, dude, 3 years, man. 3 years. The first 3 years after that were really really tough. The fourth year was not so bad, I guess you could say. I had healed, I guess, probably by then. By the end of the third year, I was pretty well healed. I didn't hurt anymore, you know. Um, but early on, I was really, really, really. Look, this is taking forever, dude. This stupid mini game. Um, I guess the time doesn't really matter that much. I know what I'm getting into with this. The time is less important. Um, but no, I don't want this crap time. I don't want this bullshit time. I just don't want it. We're not going to have 20 minutes of bullshit time. I'm not doing that. Um, so anyway, I got this cat on a farm, and I guess I viewed him as some type of an emotional support animal. I mean, he didn't realize that's what he was, but it was something that was important to me to come home and have something there that was happy to see me, you know. Whereas before, my whole life, I always viewed, you know, people who had pets as weak. You know, it's like, dude, like, what do you need this thing for? You know, I always viewed pets and people that had pets as like kind of a crutch in their life. You know, like. But you know what happened to me? I became weak through the marriage and the divorce. It weakened me as a man, and I was not as strong as I was before. It took a lot out of me, and some of that was 100% negative, and some of that wasn't all negative, you know? Like, um, I guess one thing that I would say that is a positive is that, so before I got married, I really had this very strong desire to find a mate and settle down, you know? That's gone. I have rid myself of that desire. I would. I'm not completely in opposition to um, ever meeting someone and it working out, you know? It's not like I have made the decision where um, no matter what happens in my life, I'm going to reject all opportunities to cultivate you know, another relationship. Um, It's not like I'm at that spot or something like that. It's just that I am not actively seeking that any longer. And I would be totally cool. I don't know if totally cool isn't the right way to put it, but I would rather be alone for the rest of my life than to go through the ordeal of falling in love, getting married, getting divorced, being destroyed emotionally again. Being disemboweled emotionally is basically what it is. I was emotionally disemboweled. I'd never gone through anything like that before. I mean, I'd had my heart broken, but this was different. It was very different. And I don't have any desire to go through that ever again. I don't see very many situations where... I mean, it would have to be a situation where I really did not have to put any effort into it. Where I just fell ass backward into an amazing woman who just loved me unconditionally for long enough that I was willing to even consider the possibility that I might let myself pursue something like that again. Because it's just like, I'm 43 years old, man. You know, when you're 20 years old, you have needs, you know? There are needs. And when you're 43 years old, those needs are wants. And the things, you know, when you're 20 something, the things that you're willing to barter away in your life for the ability to satisfy those needs are totally different than what you're willing to barter away in your life and you're 40 something, you know. It's just not there. It's like, I mean, sex is great, right? But you know, I've had a lot of sex in my life. It is what it is, man. It's like, okay, all right, that was cool, you know. It's nothing new, is what I'm saying, you know. It's I don't know. In the world that we live in now is not even the world that it was when I was 20 something. We live in a weird, screwed up, ass backward world, dude. Now, granted, a lot of the weird ass shit that's going on in society right now is a fad, you know. People are making choices that they would never make 20 years ago, and that I don't believe they will make 20 years from now. You have a very large, how do I say this? A very well-funded group, a very small group, a very well-funded small group with a very, very large voice that has been able to convince a lot of people that they should behave in a certain way and that everybody else should accept the choices that they make as being perfectly fine and not harming anyone. And that's just simply not the case. And as time goes on and long-term studies are done on the psychological, emotional, and physical damage that people are doing to themselves, like, the results are going to come in, and it's going to be staggering, and it's going to be terribly obvious how bad a lot of these things are. And I guess the way I see it is somebody who's part of a very wealthy, very affluent, very powerful family is going to go through this phase, and they're going to come out the other side and say, dude, I got screwed. I was told a lot of lies, and I was going through a really bad time psychologically and emotionally in my life, and I was told that this was a solution to my problem, and it freaking was not. It was not a solution. Not only was it not a solution, but it was, you know, a really, 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 really damaging thing that I was led to believe was going to solve my problems, and it didn't. And now we're going to sue the shit out of your hospital and your doctors, and we're going to destroy you. And that will happen. And then the lawyers will get involved, and then doctors and hospitals and clinics will be like, oh, well, we can't do this stuff anymore unless, you know, you sign all these waivers that we can't be sued no matter what the results are. And once that starts to happen, then, you know, when you have to sign waivers saying that no matter what happens to you in the future, that you're solely reliable for that shit now, that's like a whole lot of red flags and whistles go off in people's heads. Like, why do I have to sign this if there's nothing wrong with this and this is normal? Like, why do I have to sign this shit now? Like, anyway, that's what I see happening in the short window of time here. And like I said, once the long-term studies come out on this stuff, dude, like I say, it's a fad, man. It's a fad. You know, back in the 1990s, people used to wear these pants. Like, look up, Google something like skater pants from the 1990s. You'll see the clothes that these people wore, and it's like crazy, dude. They were like wearing curtains. They were massive. It was a fad. They were popular. A lot of people wore those pants. But, you know, you could take a pair of pants off and put a new pair of pants on when you realize that, hey, you know, this is maybe not the best thing. I used to have long hair when I was in my late teens and early 20s. That's something that I could change, you know. I could cut that hair off and I could, you know, have a different hairstyle when I wanted. A lot of these choices that people are making these days, it's not reversible. It's not. I don't wish any bad things on anybody. But I'm just the kind of person that looks at things from a more realistic perspective, and like, I have a sandbox philosophy in life. What I mean by that is, I mean, a sandbox is a metaphor, but, you know, there are sandboxes all over the place, right? All over, everywhere you go, there are sandboxes. And one thing, if you had a sandbox when you were a little kid, one thing that you learn about sandboxes is that sometimes you find cat shit in there because cats like to shit in sand. And so, if people are diligent and, you know, they want to let their kid play in a sandbox, but they're diligent about it, they cover the sandbox up when the kid is done playing, so that their kid doesn't find this cat shit and maybe start eating it, because kids are dumb and they eat shit they're not supposed to, right? So, anyway, life is full of sandboxes, and you get to choose which sandboxes you're willing to play in. Some sandboxes have an inherent risk, like, for example, flying an airplane. I don't mean like piloting an airplane, I mean taking a ride in an airplane. Statistically speaking, it's supposed to be pretty safe. But there's always the possibility something goes wrong, and then that plane crashes and you die. That is a sandbox that you don't have to play in. You can live your whole life without ever flying in an airplane. You can totally do that. A lot of people have. And you can do that too. But you don't have to. And, you know, you may be willing to run those odds because the odds are probably in your favor. You know, you could probably take 1,000 flights on an airplane and never have a crash. And that's probably likely that that would happen. But it's a sandbox. And it's a choice that you make to play in that sandbox. And odds are there's not going to be a cat turd in that one, but maybe one day there is. And, you know, that's just the way it is. Anyway, there are a lot of sandboxes like that, right? You can get drunk at a bar and nothing bad happens to you. You can do that many, 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 many times. You can get drunk at a bar and get in your car and drive home and have nothing bad happen to you many, 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 many times. But, you know, all it takes is, even if it's not your fault, right? You could get drunk at a bar, get in your car, and then drive home. And on your way home, somebody else is on the road, and they're not paying attention to where they're going because they're looking at their phone. And they smash through a red light and run into you. Well, you're going to get screwed because you were drinking at the bar before. Even though you did not cause that accident, you did not do anything that would have caused that accident if the individual had not been on their phone and had not run that red light. You're still going to be at fault in that accident because it's illegal to do what you were doing. And they're going to run you through the ringer and you're going to get screwed. Now, technically, yeah, you broke the law, but realistically, you didn't do anything. Like, it wasn't your fault that the accident occurred, right? So just because you were playing in that sandbox, boy, oh boy, it happened again. Well, at least we're not. Oh man, dude, this is bad. Well, now that I know that, so that's, I don't know, I don't ever remember that happening before, honestly. But going forward, there's a sandbox right there. When I go and I'm on my my run here, when I go on my run and attempt the one segment run here, I have an option. I can play in the sandbox of not wearing a ribbon, or I can put a ribbon on. Now, if I put a ribbon on, it might shave a little bit. It might add a little bit of time to my overall total because I'll be sacrificing two things. One, I have to go in the basement of the rich man's house in South Figaro and get that ribbon, which will take extra time. I mean the sub-basement. I have to go in the basement anyway, but I don't have to go in the sub-basement. But if I go in the sub-basement, I can get that ribbon. Or I guess I could try stealing a ribbon from Atma. There's always that possibility that I could get that. So there's a lot of things I can try and do. Or I could just say, well, the odds are I'm not going to have that happen to me. I guess I could also put a white cape on. That would what do I have for equipment here? Maybe I didn't put... Yeah, I probably didn't put the enhancer on is what happened. That's probably why. So normally I would have an enhancer on, which would mean that my magic defense is higher. That's probably why. Because normally I don't remember getting muddled there. But I think I maybe didn't put that enhancer on. I bought it, but I didn't equip it. So, maybe that's all I gotta do. Rather than having to deal with that ribbon. I yeah, I'll do that. There's a lot of things like that I gotta remember, you know. I'm not like a professional speedrunner, and I don't have this game completely 100% memorized. Every step I make, every equipment change I do, I'm not. You know, there's a certain level. In life you have different levels of commitment to things, you know? Like you can be a pretty good athlete and train yourself pretty well and be in really good shape, you eat good, you sleep good, you go to, you know, you exercise good, you do all these things that are good for you, and then you compare yourself to the guy who holds the world record for like the mile run. And then you go, "Oh, yeah, okay. So compared to that guy, yeah, like what I do here for my training and my exercise, like, you know, that's just a hobby for me. But for that guy that has the world record for the mile run, obviously that's a way of life. That is something he's dedicated his entire life to uh, working to accomplish. Well, maybe not his entire life, but a very good portion of a window of his life anyway. So there are levels to everything, you know, and a person can be very dedicated, right? Like if you take like a casual, very very extremely casual player of this game, somebody who played the game one time, they were in level 75 when they beat Kefka, and they put like 60 hours into the game. And you compare that individual to what I'm working to accomplish, and it would look like, wow, you know, like this is pretty advanced, man. But you compare what I'm trying to accomplish to the guy that holds the world record for fastest completion of the game, like you have the same jump from the most casual single playthrough to what I'm doing versus what I'm doing to the world record. There are so many different levels to you know, how much commitment a person wants to put into a given task. And I don't have any plans at all on trying to grind out a perfect run on this game. I do, however, have personal goals in mind. I would like to do a single segment run in under 7 hours. I would really like to accomplish that. And we'll find out what my time is when I complete it for the first time. Which is going to be, hopefully, I think it's reasonable that I should be able to do it in under 8 hours. I think that's fairly reasonable. Because I've played this game a lot in my life. Just not the way I'm doing it now. That was actually a pretty quick one there. You know, I don't know if I will be able to do it in 8 hours in the first try. I mean, if I did a segmented run, like, you know, I'm confident that I could easily do it in under 8 hours. In fact, well, if I was doing a segmented run, I'm confident that I could easily do it in under 7 hours. That would be easy. On a segmented run, where I just, you know, played a segment until I was, where I was, what's the word I'm looking for here? Where I was pleased with the segment, it would be very, very easy. Very, very easy for me anyway, because I play the game quite a bit over all my times that I played this game in my life. It would be very easy for me to do a multi-segment run of this game where my final time was under 7 hours. That would be easy. Under 5 hours, I'm not sure. Or under 6 hours, I mean. That, I can't speak to that. Getting, for me, even if it was a multi-segment run, to do it in under 6 hours would be impressive. That would be impressive for anybody. I don't care what somebody says. That would be impressive. That would be an impressive accomplishment. Doing it in under 5 hours, I think the world record for this is just barely under 5 hours. So that would be fantastical. Honestly, that would be crazy. That should solve that problem of getting muddled. What am I doing? Being a moron is what I'm doing. So I don't know how many of you out there might be football fans, but the 49ers, who is the team that I root for, they just re-signed and restructured Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. And you know, I got so many good things to say about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm probably the only one in the whole world too, because everybody, even Niners fans that I talk to, they just talk shit about him all the time, and I'm like, dude, the guy wins football games, you know? Unwisely, the 49ers spent a lot of draft currency on a young player named Trey Lance. He went to school at a very small mid-level division school, and he played very, very little, and on top of that, he played in a very run-focused offense. And for some reason, the 49ers, or I should say specifically John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan decided that it would be a really good choice to spend a lot of draft currency on this guy. And I said from the beginning that I didn't like the move. I thought it was a terrible move. And everything I've seen out of this kid, including the 49ers' decision to make this move. I mean, if he was lighting the world on fire, Lance, I mean, if this kid looked like dynamite, man, like he couldn't miss, there's no way that Garoppolo gets re-signed. They would have cut him, and he'd be a free agent right now. The only reason... He's Lance Insurance is what he is. And I am telling you right now, Trey Lance is on a short leash. I don't care what anybody says. He's got 2 games to prove that he's ready. And if he doesn't prove that he's ready in the first 2 games, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the quarterback come week number 3 when the San Francisco 49ers play the Seattle Seahawks. Because they have a win-now team right now. And if Lance is the guy, okay, whatever, that's fine. But if he's not ready, if he's not giving them their best chance to win football games right now, you have to swallow your pride. You have to say, hey, you know what? I was wrong. And Lance just isn't what we thought he was. And at least Garoppolo, if he has warts, it's that he does not have a good deep ball. But I would say he is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He makes good choices, and he wins football games. And a quarterback that wins football games and makes good choices is a hell of a good quarterback. He's better than a game manager. He does not have Hall of Fame caliber talent, but he does have Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacking skills. There's a difference between skill and talent. So quarterbacking is a very unique job. You need a lot of different abilities to play quarterback at a Hall of Fame level. The first thing you need to be able to do is you need to be able to make split-second decisions. And you need for your split-second decisions to be consistent, and they need to be the right choice. That is the single most important part of being a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. If you cannot do that, you will never be a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, no matter what else you can do with a football. That's just the bottom line. Now, if you can do that, which some people can do, they have the mental aspect of the game. They can do those things. Not very many people can do those things at a high level. But there are a fair amount of people who can do that. Now, if you have the mental part of the game down, and you can do that, and I don't mean like at an NFL level, I'm talking about a Hall of Fame caliber level, right? Which really narrows the field, because there are not that many men that can do that. The next step would be able to then be able to, once you've been able to decipher the puzzle, and you've solved the puzzle, and you consistently solve the puzzle correctly, and you very, 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 very rarely make a mental error. Once, if you're at that spot in your development, The next step would be able to physically be able to place the ball in the spot that it's supposed to be. You solve the equation, you solve the riddle, you solve the puzzle, you know, wow. You know where, you know what you have to do. Now the next step is executing and doing that. Now there are a lot of people who are physically gifted enough to do exactly that, where, you know, they can put the ball where it needs to go and they can put it on a dime, but they don't know how to, they're not able to do the mental side of things. Okay, they can do everything physically that the position would require, but they're not capable of mentally doing the things that are required to perform the task at a Hall of Fame caliber level. There are probably fewer people that can do it physically than they can do it mentally, but I would say that, you know, the difference is not huge. Now, the next step would be to be able to make all of the throws, okay? So there are guys like, for example, Peyton Manning. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback one day. I don't know if he's in there yet, but when I think he is, actually. He didn't have a great deep ball. When I say a deep ball, you know, throwing the ball very, very deep, that was not the strongest part of his game. He had the mental side of the game down, and he could make most of the throws. But, you know, his deep ball wasn't that good. Like, very, very deep, you know, way downfield. It wasn't that good. That was probably, as far as his ability to quarterback, his biggest drawback, okay? But that's the least important aspect, you know? The least important aspect of quarterbacking is having a great deep ball, you know? If you can do the other two aspects and do them at a astronomically high level, like a Hall of Fame caliber level, and you also are able to you throw a deep ball on top of all of that, then, you know, I mean, you might be the best quarterback of your generation if you have all three of those tools. And then there's the least important aspect of the position of quarterback, and that is athletic ability, meaning that you can, you know, you're agile and you can run well and you're quick and you can make shifty moves. That is, you don't even need that ability to play the position of quarterback. The greatest quarterback in the history of the NFL is a guy who's a statue back there. He doesn't even move. He just stands there and surgically carves you up. He doesn't need to move. And he's the best one that's ever done it. It's Tom Brady. And there's really no disputing that he's the best. The next best was a similar guy. I mean, Joe Montana did roll out a little bit. He ran around a little bit, but he was not an athletic quarterback, not in the slightest. He was a statue, just like Tom Brady. Drew Brees was a statue. Peyton Manning was a statue. All of the best. Dan Marino was a statue. All of the best quarterbacks ever were statue quarterbacks. Now, you got a guy like Steve Young or Aaron Rodgers who are more agile. They are rollout quarterbacks. Like Aaron Rodgers, for example. Well, Aaron Rodgers is more of a rollout. Steve Young actually ran the ball. He was, of all of the athletic quarterbacks, Steve Young was the best that there's ever been. Well, Russell Wilson, actually, given enough time to play. What am I doing here? Sprint shoes and Gale hairpins. Okay. If Russell Wilson has a long enough career, he may very well surpass Steve Young. I gotta sell that green beret. I gotta remember to sell all green berets when I'm in the world of balance. Steve Young, still at this point in the game, is probably the best mobile quarterback the NFL has ever seen. But Russell Wilson is nipping at his heels. I'd have to actually go and look at the numbers. Steve Young did not have that long of a career. So it's possible I don't know. I don't think Russell Wilson's quite there yet. As far as... It's easier to get in the NFL Hall of Fame than it is. I think it's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, not the NFL Hall of Fame. I think it's easier to get the Pro Football Hall of Fame than it is... What am I doing? To get into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, but I don't think that... Steve Young.
According to Wikipedia, John Stephen Young is an American former professional football quarterback who played in...
Steve Young had 33,000 yards. Next time there's a spot, I'll compare them if I can. Well, there's some dialogue coming up here. I might be able to... 33,124, so let's just call it 33,000 yards. He did win a Super Bowl. Pretty sure he won Super Bowl MVP that year. He had a 64.3 completion percentage for his career. And... he threw for 232 career touchdowns. He did lead the NFL in completion percentage 5 different times. He led the NFL in touchdown passes 4 different times. He led the league in... I don't know. He led the league in quarterback rating 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different times. He has a 96.8 career quarterback rating. Now, I'm not really concerned about his rushing numbers because we're talking about quarterbacks here. And, you know, whatever a quarterback can do on the ground is just gravy. If they can't actually play the position of quarterback, then who the hell cares what they can do with their feet? Like, give me a break. Russell Wilson, I'm kind of curious, actually, to see how he stacks up to Steve Young. I don't think he's played long enough yet. He does have 1 Super Bowl victory, and he has played in 2 Super Bowls. Russell Wilson.
According to Wikipedia, Russell Carrington Wilson is an American football quarterback for the Denver Broncos of the National Football League.
Yeah, he's playing for Denver now. Glad he's out of the NFC West, I'll tell you that. He has 37,000 career yards and 292 touchdown passes. I would say that... And he's won a Super Bowl. I guess I would say that if Steve Young is in the Hall of Fame, then Russell Wilson ought to be. I mean, those numbers. Although, well, maybe not necessarily, because you gotta remember it's a different era. He's only led the league in touchdown passes one time. He's led the league in quarterback rating only one time. He's not. So his overall numbers look better than what Steve Young produced, but compared to his contemporaries, Russell Wilson is not. So that's one of the things that you got to take into account, right? So what are your numbers overall? And then how do your numbers compare against the people that were playing at the same time as when you played? And so it's kind of not fair for Russell Wilson in the sense that his whole career he's had to play against either Tom Brady, compete against. Not necessarily that he was specifically playing against him every game or whatnot, but like the quarterbacks that played in Russell Wilson's era have been Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. Like, all these guys are better than Russell Wilson. Well, I don't know about Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes hasn't played long enough to earn the right to say he's better than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson has accomplished more than Patrick Mahomes has accomplished. Well, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes need to be playing a little bit longer before we start talking about how good Patrick Mahomes is. He's good right now, but he doesn't have very large. The sample size is too small for Mahomes. So when you start comparing Wilson to people that played in previous eras, his numbers as a whole are going to be better than some. But when you start comparing him to who were the best people of his own era, I'm not even sure if he's a top 5 quarterback. That doesn't mean he won't end up at the Hall of Fame one day. It just means that what are we using here? Fire. And we do have Ifrit. And we do have yes. And let's just go ahead and... So, in his era, Steve Young was vastly superior. See, that's the thing. Steve Young was the best quarterback in the 1990s. He was the best quarterback in the 1990s. I don't think there's much debating that. Troy Aikman won 3 Super Bowls in the 1990s, but I don't know that he was a better quarterback. He wasn't a better quarterback. Steve Young was a superior quarterback to Troy Aikman. But, Troy Aikman had a better running game. I will say this about Troy Aikman. I was a little bit blinded by my come on, man. Well, because I'm a 49ers fan, I just have an innate hatred for the Dallas Cowboys. And because the Dallas Cowboys, in my mind, stole a few Super Bowls from the 49ers, you know, I really dislike those Cowboys teams in the 1990s. But they won 3 Super Bowls, and you can't take it away from them. But the 1990s were not a great decade for quarterbacking. I mean, Joe Montana was at the end of his career. Dan Marino, I guess I'd have to look at the numbers to find out when Dan Marino kind of fell off a cliff there. But I don't remember him playing at a very high level in the mid to late 90s. I mean, I think he still played, but I don't know that he was still flinging around like he used to when he was younger. I'd have to look at the numbers. I'd have to look at the years because I don't really remember. Dan Marino was probably... I don't know. Let's look it up while we're watching this cutscene. Let's see what happens. Dan Marino.
According to Wikipedia.
Dan Marino.
According to Wikipedia,
Dan Marino did things that nobody else had ever done. Like, he was the first quarterback to throw for 60,000 yards. He threw for 61,000 yards in his career, and nobody had done anything like that. So when you look at Dan Marino, like Dan Marino led the league in completions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Attempts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Yards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Touchdowns 1, 2, 3 times. Quarterback rating only once, so he threw a lot of incompletions, probably some interceptions in there too. He just lit it up, man. But he was not the same quarterback in the late 90s anymore, and his completion percentage was less than 60% for his career. So I don't know. Maybe the offense that he played in was just... He probably threw a lot more deep balls than other systems. He threw the ball a lot. But, you know, compared to his contemporaries, he led the league in all these different things, how many different years, right? So he was the best quarterback in the league at doing a lot of things multiple different years. You know, he was, compared to his contemporaries, he was extremely impressive. Alright, now, we need to give her Zone Seek. And then we need to give her a Elixir. And I think we'll be okay. As long as we can kill off Edgar without too much trouble. So when you start comparing Dan Marino to his contemporaries, especially early in his career, towards the middle end of his career, you know, he just wasn't the same quarterback anymore. I don't know what the deal was there. But Dan Marino did things that no one had ever really done before, you know. He set the new standard, and I say Dan Marino is the standard for a automatic entry into the Hall of Fame, meaning that if he had 60,000 yards and 420 touchdowns in his career, and if you accomplished one of those two feats, you should be given a bust in Canton, Ohio, because, well, come on, are you gonna kill freaking Setzer, you douchebags, or what? Why do you keep attacking her? I forget. I gotta take magic off, or I gotta take wall ring off of him. Okay, this is just taking forever. So I'm just gonna have to, with the first bite, just use 2. Will you kill him? Will you attack him? You sack of dog ass. What a bunch of shit. They won't even attack him. Just wasting time there. Well, we're not on a straight time. So, was one of you just gonna attack Setzer, or just no? No? Nobody's gonna attack Setzer? You're just gonna like not attack him. I get so pissed off at stupid shit like that. It's like, how many times you attack at Celis? Will you hit her? Or hit him? You dumb cocksmokers? How long till you hit him? He's not vanished. Just kill him! About time! Oh, dude, did I... Oh, motherfucker. I'm an idiot. No wonder, dude. No wonder they're dying so quick. Man, I'm dumb. There's just so many things. Oh well, whatever. It's like they shouldn't be dying that quick. Anyway, is Russell Wilson a Hall of Famer? Probably by the time he retires, yes. Is he a Hall of Famer today? I don't think he's there yet. If he wins another Super Bowl, that'll get him. Well, even if he wins the Super Bowl this year and he never plays another snap in the NFL after this year, I think that would get him in the Hall of Fame. Winning 2 Super Bowls, throwing for over 40,000 yards. And I don't know if he can hit 250 touchdowns this year or not, but I don't know, man. They're gonna have to start reevaluating what is acceptable. What are the statistical thresholds in the more modern football to get into the Hall of Fame? Because they keep on adding games to the season, and they keep on making it easier for offenses to put up numbers. So as they continue to make the game easier for offenses, and as they continue to add games to put up numbers, you're going to have to adjust what is the what are these thresholds for greatness, you know, like for a career. Because I mean, you can have a really good year, and you know, you can be whatever. I'm talking about career numbers here. So I'm just like, what are they going to do about that, you know? What are they going to use to determine, you know, what is the cutoff point for these things now? I still say that, you know, if you accomplish either the touchdowns or the yardage that Dan Marino did, you're automatically in. Like some people say that Phillip Rivers is not a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he's got over 60,000 yards in his career. I don't care who you are. If you've got 60,000 yards in your career, he never won a Super Bowl. I don't even think he ever played in the Super Bowl. And that's going to work against him. But the man threw for 60,000 yards, and he was consistently one of the best quarterbacks every year that he played. Was he the best quarterback? I don't know. Let's see whatever he led the league in. Phillip Rivers.
According to Wikipedia, Phillip Michael Rivers is an American former football quarterback who played in the National.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Probably more on Russell Wilson's level, actually. So that's why I say Russell Wilson needs to play longer, you know. He needs to put up more numbers to get himself in there. Because he has very few years where he led the NFL in anything. Phillip Rivers led the league in completions once, attempts once, completion percentage once, yards once, touchdowns once. They weren't all the same year, but, you know. It's not like he has, you know, multiple years where he led the whole entire league in a number of different categories. That was not Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was just really, really good always, but maybe never the best, you know. But consistently really, really, really good. Just like Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is consistently really, really, really good. One of the upper echelon quarterbacks, without a doubt. But has he ever been the best quarterback in any given year? Ever? No, I don't think so. I mean, he might have led the league in a couple of categories once or twice, but I think Russell Wilson and Phillip Rivers are more cut from the same cloth. But Phillip Rivers Oh wait, I'm way over budget here. Okay. What's next after this? Tau robe and Mog. I can sell when I'm in Tommaso, that's fine. I don't know why I still have those stupid green berets. Those things need to have been sold a while back. Alright, so it's Mog now, I believe. Come on, dude. $63,440 yards. And 421 touchdowns. So he surpassed Dan Marino in both yards and touchdowns. Not by much, but he surpassed Dan Marino in both yards and touchdowns. For me, that's an automatic bust in Canton. Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl either. So, you know, winning a Super Bowl is not a prerequisite to get in the Hall of Fame, even for a quarterback. But for me, if you surpass Dan Marino in yards or touchdowns, let alone yards and touchdowns, that gets you an automatic bust in the Hall of Fame, man. That's I don't see how you could keep Phillip Rivers out of the Hall of Fame. Seriously. What would be the justification for that? There isn't any. There's no rational justification to keep Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame. In fact, he might already be in the Hall of Fame. I don't pay that much of close attention to, like, you know, when they induct people into the Hall of Fame. I just... Oh. We lose our vanish status. What am I doing here? Get out of here. So yeah. Russell Wilson, I would say, is cut more from the cloth of Phillip Rivers caliber quarterback. And that doesn't mean, that's not a burn on him. That just means that he's never really been the best quarterback in the league at any given year, and probably he won't be. But he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and he's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. Absolutely he is. He just is going to have to play for a few more years and put up more numbers to get to that spot where you look at his entire body of work and say, okay, well, you know, he never really was the best quarterback in football in any given year, but his body of work as a total gives him the right to be in the Hall of Fame. And I just don't think Russell Wilson's there yet. He's very, very close, but he's not there yet. You know, he did win a Super... If you win 2 Super Bowls as a quarterback, and you are at least... Like Eli Manning, for example. I'd have to look at his numbers, because I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but the man won 2 Super Bowls. He was a big game quarterback. That guy won big football games. He performed on the big stage. He was a quarterback you don't want to have to play in the playoffs, because he'll make plays. Alright, what's next? Make a party. I believe. No. Not make a party. Oh, moron. Savin is next. And I'm all over the place here. I was looking at the map and I was thinking for some reason I was supposed to go over to the island where Juniper is. Which means I'm an idiot. I don't know what the hell I was thinking that for. It'll be interesting to see how some of the younger quarterbacks end up, because I mean the NFL is kind of going through a transition right now, where all of the great quarterbacks of the last, 15, 20 years are retiring or have already retired. All you've got left of this, the first 2 decades of this century, where some of the all-time great quarterbacks ever have now hung up their cleats or are nearing the end. Tom Brady's lingering around yet, but Drew Brees is gone. Ben Roethlisberger is gone. Peyton Manning is gone. There were just so many really just all-time great quarterbacks. It? It should be like right here. There it is. Oh wait, no, I'm an idiot. I gotta change my team first. So all these great all-time quarterbacks have hung up their cleats, or are, Tom Brady is still hanging around, and Aaron Rodgers, who is a different kind of quarterback. Aaron Rodgers is a upgraded version of what Steve Young was, basically. There's a lot of comparisons to Aaron Rodgers and Steve Young. They both followed Hall of Fame quarterbacks, and they both have struggled to win championships, and they both put up fantastic numbers. And we're probably both the best not the best quarterback in the league, but the best quarterback in the conference. I mean, I don't know, I'd have to look at the numbers. Aaron Rodgers may have put up better numbers than quarterbacks like Brady or Manning sometimes, but Drew Brees was a better quarterback than, well, I don't know. The numbers say that Drew Brees was better. The numbers say that Drew Brees might be... So you have regular season numbers, and then you have postseason numbers, and then you have postseason wins. Because the great quarterbacks really play in the playoffs like every year, right? They're always in the playoffs. So, what separates them outside of their statistics is their postseason success, which is what separates Tom Brady and Joe Montana from everybody else. They just won. They won football games. They won all the big games. Well, not all of them, but they won the big games. Tom Brady, or Joe Montana, played in 4 Super Bowls, and he won all 4 of them. He's undefeated in 4 Super Bowls. That is insane to think about. All right, we're going over here. And then Tom Brady comes along. He's not undefeated in the Super Bowl, but he's won 7 of them or some shit like that. Played in... How many... Okay, so Tom Brady's a lot... Well, John Elway lost a lot of Super Bowls, too. I'm an idiot. Let's see, who beat Tom Brady? Nick Foles. Give me a break. So Philadelphia stole one from him. The Giants and Eli Manning stole 2 from him. And wasn't there another one? Didn't he lose one more? I thought he lost another one. Maybe that's it. He never played the Redskins. And yes, they would have been the Redskins when... So this is the thing that bothers me, right? I was reading a little bit of information about a player that played for the Washington Redskins. And it said that he'd played for the Commanders for the last 7 years. Well, that's not true. That's 100% false. The Commanders did not exist 7 years ago. I don't even think the Commanders were a football team last year. I think it was, this is the first year they were the Commanders. I think, but I could be wrong. Maybe they were the Commanders last year. But the 2 years prior to them being called the Commanders, they were simply called the Washington Football Team. So, technically, this guy has played for the same organization his whole career. But he's also technically played for 3 different teams. He's played for the Washington Redskins. He's played for the Washington Football Team. And now he's playing for the Washington Commanders. And that is the correct way to say who he's played for. You don't just say that he played for the Commanders for the 7 years. Once the Commanders have never played, the Commanders have not even existed for 7 years. That's completely and totally asinine. I think I'm on the wrong island. So, I was also reading an article, or not an article, but some stats. I was looking up some stuff about a player, and they actually had it listed correctly. It was a Cleveland Indians player, and they listed the team properly. The team that he used to play for was called the Cleveland Indians. Now it's called the Cleveland Guardians. And that's the truth. You look it up in the record books, the Cleveland Guardians did not exist 2 years ago. So what the hell, am I in the wrong place here? What the fuck, man? Seriously. I'm like, what the hell's wrong here? Where is it supposed to be? I'm not in the wrong spot. Well, yeah, I am. Wait. Yeah, I am in the wrong spot. Man, I'm stupid. I'm so dumb, dude. Just dumb. Yeah, you. Bye. Bye-bye. You know, why not buy another one? Just in case. Why not buy 2 more? There's no reason to not do that. And then, while I'm at it... I really have to piss so bad. There's gotta be a dialogue thing coming up here somewhere. Such a freaking moron, dude. There we go. This is what we're looking for. I gotta piss. I can't take this anymore. Yeah, I could have probably just gotten into the fight first before I went up there. Oh well. It doesn't really matter that much. Oh well, hello there, kitty. You decided to go back over there, huh? You had had enough of your perch and you went back to the computer chair? Yes? I wish I knew why or how those... Oh, boy, I got lucky there. How those, those relics, like, they show up in a weird... Okay, so I can't do that then. Oh well, that's fine. It's all good. Alright, so... That's fine. I'm not gonna do another one. I'm supposed to have an appointment tomorrow morning for something, and I'm not going to be able to go to bed right now, but I can kill this stream and then revisit this later. later. Thank you for your time. You have a wonderful rest of your day.